What if I told you that the single most powerful tool you own isn't your money, your status, or even your talent, but the empty space inside your mind? Think about it. We live in a world that praises filling up. Filling our calendars with endless meetings. Filling our phones with constant notifications. Filling our conversations with noise. Filling our heads with opinions that are not even ours. We think the more we add, the more powerful we become. But what if the real secret to power, peace, and greatness lies in subtraction? Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Daniel. On the surface, he was just like anyone you'd pass by in an airport or a coffee shop. Mid-30s, clean-cut, ambitious. He worked in corporate sales, had the suit, the tie, the car, the watch, the picture-perfect resume. But deep down, Daniel carried something he couldn't tell anyone. His mind never shut off. From the moment his eyes opened in the morning, thoughts raced like cars on a freeway. Deadlines, emails, bills, regrets, what-ifs, the voices of his parents, the judgments of his colleagues, the ghost of every failure he ever had. He carried them all. He carried them everywhere. And it was killing him. Not in a dramatic, movie scene kind of way. But in the quiet erosion of joy, moment by moment. His body was alive, but his spirit was exhausted. His brain was a storage closet where old memories, worries, and insecurities piled up until there was no room left for creativity, peace, or clarity. One Thursday evening, Daniel sat in his car outside the office. He had closed a big deal, his boss had congratulated him, his team had cheered, his commission had grown. Yet there he was, hands gripping the steering wheel, feeling like nothing mattered. The applause didn't touch him. The numbers didn't move him. His mind, still cluttered with endless chatter, made every victory taste like cardboard. That night, instead of driving home, he wandered into a small bookstore a few blocks away. It wasn't a big franchise, just a little place with wooden shelves and the smell of coffee beans in the air. He wasn't looking for anything, but life has a way of placing the right words in front of us at the exact right time. On a table by the entrance sat a book with a simple title, Empty Your Mind. No flashy design. No famous author name. Just those 3 words staring back at him like a challenge. He picked it up. He flipped through a few pages. And one sentence leapt out and struck him so hard, it was like someone had taken a hammer to the glass box he had been living in. Your mind is not a container to be filled. It is a sky to be cleared. Daniel froze. A sky to be cleared? He realized something. His whole life, he had been treating his mind like a suitcase. Stuffing it with worries, goals, memories, fears. Carrying it from place to place. Dragging it like baggage. But a sky? That was different. A sky is not meant to be filled with clouds forever. A sky is meant to open. That night, he went home and, for the first time, didn't turn on the TV. Didn't scroll his phone. Didn't drown himself in noise. He sat on the floor of his living room. Closed his eyes. And just listened. At first, it was unbearable. Every thought he had ever buried came screaming back. Every voice in his head fought for attention. He almost quit after 5 minutes. But something inside him, something deeper, whispered, "Stay." So he stayed. And slowly, like dust settling in a quiet room, his thoughts began to soften. He realized that thoughts are like waves. You don't have to stop them. You don't have to fight them. You just let them come. Let them go. Like clouds drifting across the sky. That was the beginning. The next morning, he walked into work different. His co-workers didn't notice. The world rarely notices the small shifts that matter most. But inside Daniel, space had opened. For the first time in years, his brain didn't feel like a crowded subway at rush hour. There was room. Room to breathe. Room to see. Room to be. And in that space, creativity flowed. Ideas came without force. Conversations felt lighter. Even his mistakes didn't sting as sharply. He began to understand, emptying your mind isn't about losing. It's about making space to gain what really matters. Think about it, when a cup is already full, what happens if you pour more water in? It spills. It wastes. But if the cup is empty, it's ready. Ready to hold. Ready to receive. Ready to transform. Daniel's life didn't change overnight. This isn't a fairy tale. But over time, the clutter thinned. He stopped obsessing over every judgment from his boss. He stopped replaying the failures of his past like old tapes. He stopped needing every moment to be stuffed with productivity. And slowly, a deeper strength emerged. See, here's the truth most people never learn: an empty mind is not weak. It is not lazy. It is not careless. An empty mind is powerful because it is free. Free from the weight of yesterday. Free from the fear of tomorrow. Free to act fully in the present. That's why Bruce Lee once said, empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless. Like water. When your mind is empty, you can adapt. You can flow. You can move through life without being trapped by the cages of thought. Now imagine this: what if you could stand in front of every challenge in your life with a clear mind? No baggage. No noise. Just presence. What could you achieve? What kind of person would you become? Daniel found out. Months later, he was offered a promotion, one that would demand longer hours, more stress, more sacrifice. The old Daniel would have grabbed it instantly, stuffing his mind with more responsibility, more ego, more weight. But the new Daniel paused. Breathed. Cleared his mind. And for the first time, he asked himself not, what will impress others, but what will give me peace? He turned it down. Instead, he chose a smaller role with more freedom. More time. More space. And in that space, he found himself again. He reconnected with painting, a hobby he hadn't touched since college. He spent weekends hiking instead of grinding through paperwork. He laughed more. Slept more. Lived more. The people around him noticed. You seem lighter, a coworker said. Happier, his sister told him. But Daniel knew the truth: he wasn't carrying less in his life. He was carrying less in his mind. And here's where the story becomes yours. Because you, too, are carrying things you don't need. Old arguments replaying in your head. Dead dreams weighing on your shoulders. Fear of failure. Fear of judgment. Fear of not being enough. Your mind is crowded with noise that isn't even yours. The expectations of society. The scrolling of social media. The pressure of time. But what if you put it down? What if you emptied your mind, just for a moment? And allowed space for something greater to enter? Because the truth is, when the mind is empty, the heart speaks. And when the heart speaks, life transforms. Empty your mind. Not forever. Not perfectly. Just enough to feel the weight lift. Just enough to see clearly. Just enough to remember that you are not your thoughts, you are the space beneath them. And in that space, there is freedom. There is clarity. There is power. So tonight, when you're tempted to drown your silence in noise, try this: turn everything off. Sit with yourself. Let the clouds pass. Let the storm settle. Wait for the sky to clear. Because once it does, you'll see what Daniel saw, and what millions before him have discovered. The most powerful mind is not the one that is full. It is the one that is free.